Let's understand the SQL that goes on behind the scenes and how we can even improve on that. So let's run it again with the profiler. And we can see in the profiler the SQL that was generated. Go to collect data, order details, SQL, ask it to show me the detail, and we have here the SQL that was generated. Let's take this SQL and explore it. So I'm going to copy it. I'll go back to Visual Studio, go over to my Server Explorer, right click, new table, new query, and start working on it. If you don't know how to operate a Server Explorer, we have a video on how to use Visual Studio to write your own SQL. Great, so let's paste this SQL here. Okay, whatever we copied from my details, and then we'll clean it out a bit. So I'm going to save this in our project, in our SQL query, so we can use version control for it. Original query. Great. So before we run this query, there are several things here we need to clear out. What's actually going on here, the .NET code doesn't call the SQL statement on its own, it actually calls a store procedure to run it in some cases. So let's first of all clear that garbage out so we can just look at the query. We clear it out by removing everything before the select and everything that is after the order by. So if we look at it now and run it, we can see the results that we get. Perfect. Let's save it or see the changes. So to clean the query, we've deleted everything all the way to the select statement and everything after the order by statement. Clear query. Good. Now, when we run this query, we are still getting a lot of rows from the database. In this case, we are getting 2,000 rows. And you can imagine that if we are getting 250,000 rows, this can still take several seconds. But what we actually want to have, we want to have the information per product. And for that, we can use the SQL group by statement. What we are actually wanting to say is we want to have one row per product with the statistical information after it. So let's remove from our select statement everything that we don't need. And run it again. So now we have just a lot of products, 2,156 products. But now let's go ahead and add group by. When I run this, it will actually group the data according to our product. Of course, I cannot order by customer ID anymore because it's not in our query. So I'll remove that. So now we have one row per product. So instead of getting 2,000 rows from the database, we just get back 77. And getting back 77 is always better than getting 2,000. Let's look at the change. We simply, let's save it and look at the change. We reduce the select statement to only the columns that we need, and we've added the group by statement instead of the order by statement. Group by. Cool. Next, let's go ahead and add the information we want to collect. First thing you want to have is the total quantity. So we can say here sum of A dot quantity. A, meaning order details, is indicated by the A over here. So when I run this, for every product I get the total quantity. And we can do the same for the total price. So I can say quantity times unit price. Perfect. So by using this select statement, we are able to gather the entire information from the database without our code having to operate so hard. And instead of getting 2,000 rows or 200,000 rows, we are only getting rows as the number of products that we have. So we're basically delegating to the database the entire work that actually needs to be done here to collect the information and bring it to the application collected in a way that we can operate on it. So let's review this last change. We can see here that we've added a sum of quantity and a sum of quantity times unit price. Now we can use dynamic SQL entity to take that into our code and use it in our code. But in the next video, I'm going to show you a way to do this without writing the SQL itself.